I think there's only so much that you can play the same experience before it eventually starts to fade or become boring. You need new things to really entice you.
Part of it is it just doesn't always feel inviting. There are people who need to sort of get in there and learn how to develop their skills and become that really competitive player, but they have to feel comfortable being able to come into that environment and do that.
How do you get people more deeply connected with your universe?
We're trying to make it innovative, we're trying to make it accessible, and by introducing story and a narrative thread through the whole Infinity multiplayer experience is something that we really wanted to put a lot of attention and detail into.
If it's a universe that everybody wants to be really excited about, it's got to grow and evolve beyond just an incredibly balanced suite of mechanics. It's got to speak to fantasy and what people want and what they expect.
A lot of what makes Halo 1's multiplayer very memorable was actually the experience that people had.
The sneaker net mentality of people running around with their Xboxes and plugging them into each other so we could all play online multiplayer together. I mean, that was such a communal time. It was fabulous.
You can't just look at the game by itself. You have to look at where the world was at that point in time, right? You have to look at what other offerings were available and the sort of new trails that it was blazing.
It definitely pioneered multiplayer and certainly on live.
But when you look at the series over time, I think that it's failed to change, and something we really wanted to do with Halo 4 was evolve the experience.
The high-level philosophy for multiplayer was that we wanted to unify the competitive and cooperative experiences under this one big narrative banner that we call Infinity.
The Infinity is a UNSC ship that is home to the Spartan 4 program.
Really try to contextualize multiplayer in such a way in which it doesn't feel like abstracted game mode off to the side. It feels very much part of the same universe.
We knew we wanted to expand the audience as far as we could, but still satisfy the core as much as possible. We had to break everything down to line-by-line evaluation of our current scripts and redefine that core loop to not make it like Halo 2 or like Halo 3 or something in the middle, but make it Halo 4.
Halo starts with a philosophy that we've upheld, which is that your gameplay mechanics are consistent across every mode, so they don't change.
We want to give players the power to choose which weapons they take in. People have their own personal favorites.
It's a growth system in that you're unlocking customizations for your character, you're unlocking new weapons and abilities, but that's also helping to train you how to use those over time.
You have armor abilities and armor mods, which are sort of under the hood modifications to your armor that give you abilities, give you passive changes.
And then that completely fit in with our new scoring system.
There's a lot of actions players take in multiplayer that don't necessarily put a score on the board.
Because of the objective medals and all the extra ways you can score in a match, no players are finishing the game with a 0.
Hail Mary.
So one of the big things for us was making sure that people felt involved and felt like they could always contribute in some sort of way.
You're getting rewarded for teamwork, your style, your kills, your assists, the objectives you complete. And as you do that, you're going to get medals that fill up your ordnance meter.
Ordnance ready.
Once your ordnance meter fills up, the UNSC Infinity gives you 3 rewards you can choose from. Those are going to be power weapons, power-ups, or grenades, and you can call them down right to you.
Request confirmed.
We're adding death cam to a bunch of our game modes. That's a replay of the person that just killed you and how they killed you. Just adds a bit more information for players.
The matchmaking system has evolved to let us join in progress. Overall, this means players will be getting into games faster and more often.
So the new CTF really focuses on trying to encourage a little more team play.
In the past, there was a lot of dropping of the flag and changing of roles, and it led to chaos and confusion on the battlefield unless you had a really, really well-organized team.
Now when you pick up the flag,
carrying flag,
you're 100% committed, and at that point, your role is now to deliver that flag.
Your HUD will change to tell you exactly where the deliver point is.
Everybody can see exactly what it is that they're supposed to do.
If you don't have that flag, then you'll still get points for helping your flag carrier, driving him around, assisting him, saving his life, returning your own flag, defending your flag against the enemies.
It's a much more intense experience for all of the players.
Enemy team scored.
Probably the biggest focal change is that we're trying to build more vehicle-friendly maps, and then to go with that, we've got a new mode called Dominion.
Dominion is everything we loved about big team battle mixed with objective-based gameplay. You have lots of vehicles, big power weapons, large maps, but now there's bases.
As you reinforce the bases, then shields will come up, or you'll be able to activate turrets to kind of reinforce those locations.
It's kind of like territories, but with a little bit more of a twist.
Territory control.
One of the biggest challenges was trying to get vehicle and infantry play to work really well on a large map that had a lot of interior space.
In Longbow, for example, all the bases in Dominion are fully thought out features in the map, and that really lets you get that break-in and defend gameplay.
The idea was to try and make sure that if the team started here or here, the paths that they could take in between involved great pinch points, places where the vehicles would automatically run into each other and jump over each other.
Whenever we start a space, we need to concentrate on a few key things. One is that there's distinct landmarks everywhere you look, so you can orient yourself and you never get lost while you're playing. Two is that whenever you're moving from location to location, if you're jumping across a gap, that none of those jumps feel frustrating. So for instance, floods are a replacement for infection, and players have higher jump height.
Infected.
We needed to make sure that we could make a map that you're always going to hit your target, you're always going to be able to move around smoothly.
Flood is a spiritual successor to Infection. We knew how popular this mode was, we knew it had a lot to live up to, so we didn't want it to just be a Slayer variant anymore. The ground up, it's a new script, it's its own mode now. And now when you're Flood, you get this new character model, you get a big claw, which you can completely slice the survivors in half with.
If you look at the model, there's a set of fingers gripping the top of it. The idea being it's kind of been an explosive growth. As soon as they get infected, it just kind of pops out of them. There's like little teeth inside now.
Survivor.
In addition to all of the new elements that
Instead of just running away and hiding, now players get points for passing, catching, intercepting the ball. It completely changed the land.
we're working with Certain Affinity to build content for multiplayer. It's a pretty huge undertaking.
Certain Affinity has a great history with 343. We worked with them on the Defiant map pack, and just recently with Halo Anniversary. In particular for this project, what they're doing for us is our 10 multiplayer maps, 3 of those are Forge.
And one of those maps will have a Griffball core in it.
want to go in the next steps is only made possible by building absolute confidence.
A hero is someone who takes action even though they have something to lose.
You gotta have the gumption, you gotta have the confidence to go after it, even if it means throwing your playbook away.
No matter how deeply we explore the universe or how much detail that you find out about aspects of the universe, it's still bigger and more mysterious than any amount of information could ever give us, and I think that's how the real universe is.
I'm super excited about where this game has evolved to.
There's so much variation at all levels of the game that make it infinitely replayable.
People play it and they say, man, that's great, I just want one more game, and another one, and just keep going.
It has been sort of this puzzle that's come together person by person.
And it's an amazing feeling to kind of look back and see what, as a team, we've managed to accomplish.
To me, that's the most fun thing, is seeing people play it, enjoy it, and have fun. And you know it just started with that single spark, that single sentence from one designer to another.